And we are now officially live. We have Sydney, Ireland, and her father, Gary. And Sydney is dressed in her fabulous, which outfit is it? Because there might be a little bit of discrepancy. Is it Boy Scouts? Is it Scout? Is it Girl Scouts? Or just a uniform?
I'm wearing my Canadian Scout uniform right now because I am a member of Scouts Canada, which is a co-ed group to the Boy Scouts, except it allows me in, a girl.
Okay, so now before we get onto the whole juicy aspect of why I'm actually interviewing you, I want to get some background. You started off as a young child interested in camping, or because dad might have been involved with the Scouts and that kind of got you involved? How did it all start for you?
So when I was 4 years old, my brother, who's 2 years older than me, he was 6, and he was an official member of the Cub Scouts, which is the younger version of the Boy Scouts. And I wanted to be part of that program because I saw all the amazing things that he did. He went camping, he went hiking, he earned badges, he raced little cars, and I really wanted to do that. So at the age of 4, I became an unofficial member of the Cub Scouts, and I continued through that until I was 11, and I earned the highest award in the Cub Scouts, which is the Arrow of Light.
And tell, what is the Arrow of Light?
So pretty much it's all of the things that you've done throughout your years in the Cub Scouts combined together, and it's pretty much like a graduating thing that you create, and then you receive the award of completing the Cub Scouts. And so that is, the Cub Scouts is a prerequisite to the Boy Scouts usually. And so I wanted to continue with the Boy Scouts. I unofficially earned the Arrow of Light, I'd also like to say, because I'm a girl. But I wanted to continue with the Boy Scouts, and I was not allowed to just because I'm a girl.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm fascinated by this. So in order to achieve certain awards as a scout per se, you said that the Arrow of Light, you have to do certain things. What sort of things do you have to do?
Well, you have to go camping a certain amount of times. You have to hike.
You had worked on different milestones like safety issues and you know, taking care of you know, for example, you could do pet things, and this goes back when she was around 10 and earlier, so it's a while ago. But one of the things that I remember we went out on was Pete Seeger, the famous folk singer. We went out on his sloop, and it was an environmental sloop that we went and collected marine life and looked through it, and all of these things collected together create a book and a wealth of knowledge, similar to the Boy Scout program, that you learn both leadership skills and practical skills for you know, environmental skills, safety skills, and it moves you through the program until ultimately, once you pass a certain milestone, you get what's called the Arrow of Light, which shows that you have completed these. Now, Sydney's is right up here, as you can see behind me.
And it's almost like an attainment of knowledge and experience together. Is that correct?
Yes,
correct.
That's correct.
Okay, but it's a well-rounded knowledge. There's no specifics, because you might have a personal interest in animals. Someone might have an interest in, for example, people, and they could still earn the Arrow of Light that way. Is that correct?
Well, they have these different pins that you can earn for different skills, and some of them are required, and some of them are optional. Much like is done in the scouting program for the older boys. They have required merit badges, such as first aid, and then they have optional. So first aid, swimming, cooking are all mandatory for the Eagle rank. And then there are many, like nuclear science is an optional one that you can take if you want.
That's quite cool. So, I mean, I've always been into camping. Is that something that you're passionate about, Sydney?
Yeah.
Do you often take the tent and just off you go?
Yeah, I really love to camp, and that's one of the reasons I really wanted to be part of the Boy Scouts, because I really like to camp.
When you say camp or glamp, because I know some people, they tell me they love camping, but what they really mean is glamping, and that's like glamour camping with a wooden cabin and the hot showers in the back. You like to do the whole hog. You go with a tent and jump in the river and that type of thing.
Yes, I like to camp.
That is awesome. You're a very rare species, I must just tell you, because all the people that I know, they would rather go glamping than camping. I think that is something that I don't know if the desire to camp out in the wilds and forage for your own food and that type of thing, I don't know if that's been lost over time, but I do think that people have become too set in their ways and too comfortable that it's too much trouble to go out and camp and set up a tent. They would rather buy a tent that you just click a button and then this just it unfolds itself and that type. I mean, you like to do the whole manual aspect of it.
Yes.
Not the foraging for food, though. We haven't done that. Do you do that?
Well, if you can find takeaways in the street down here, let me tell you, it's like foraging for food anyway. So now you have camping in your bones because your dad is involved with the Scouts. Your brother is a Scout, and obviously there's a clear influence around you. And it would make sense that if you see those sorts of activities, you would want to be involved.
Yes.
And I see many girls and young women who love scuba diving and who love mountain climbing and rock climbing and all those sorts of things. I'm just surprised that they wouldn't be offering that for the Girl Scouts.
Yes. Well, I'd say that they are two different programs. The Girl Scouts focuses and has a different mission. And the Boy Scouts also has a different mission. And the Boy Scouts focuses more on the things that I want to do. And that's why I want to join the Boy Scout program.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now what do your friends and family say when you tell them, listen, I'm determined to become a Boy Scout. It's irrelevant what gender they call themselves because I like these activities. And then, of course, some of your friends will say to you, but it's the Boy Scouts. Why do you want to become a member of the Boy Scouts? Why just rather go join the Girl Scouts?
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, your response would be?
My friends are super supportive of me, first of all. And my response is they're two different programs, and I just want to girls to have the opportunity to have equal access to both programs and earn the opportunities that they want.
Okay, but now why is it so difficult for them to offer an equal program? What's the complexity in that?
Well,
that's a good question, and
yes.
There's no answer for that. We've asked them. I've offered to start a co-ed troop this week. I will mm-hmm. start a co-ed troop tomorrow, and welcome young women. And there is no hurdle to that. It's not a gender-specific program. There's no aspect of the Boy Scouts that is not important for girls to learn as well. The Scout oath and law are both very important, and they're tenets to live by, and they're as valuable to young women as they are to young men.
Okay, but now America seems to have boys and girls separated, yet in other countries they are co-ed. Why do you think this would be so?
I have no idea. America should follow other countries and what other countries are doing and their successful Scout programs because it just doesn't make sense not to allow half of the population, which are girls, into a program as amazing as the Boy Scouts. It would make the Boy Scout program better and make the population as a whole also better.
I mean, I can't disagree with you. I mean, I do notice that whenever you talk about the Boy Scouts movement, you never say it in a negative light. It's because you do feel that what they offer is obviously very valuable, and you want to take advantage of those types of activities, which you cannot do in the Girl Scouts movement. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so now all of a sudden you've decided that you're accomplishing all these accolades within the scouting movement, but they are unofficial. That must be somewhat frustrating that your brother can do it, you can't, but yet you have accomplished the same tasks as him. And what are the actual levels that you've reached? And maybe you can give us a bit of background as to what you have to actually do to get that. I mean, if I walk a granny across the road, do I get a badge for that? I mean, what sorts of things do you have to do? Because a lot of people don't know about the Scouts movement.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is your opportunity to maybe shed some light in terms of what goes on internally.
Yes. So with the Boy Scouts, I have done many things, such as I've completed also unofficially the first aid merit badge, which you learn all about first aid, which is extremely important. I have also, with the Boy Scouts, become CPR certified, which is also very important. And you also have to complete a certain number of camping requirements, and also hiking, and as well, you have to complete a swimming merit badge. So all very, and that's just to name a few. It's all like very important life skills that you need to move on up ranks in the Boy Scouts.
Well, I mean, it makes absolute sense to me. I mean, if I was running a leadership training workshop for young people, what are the skills that you want to get across? Obviously, you want to get communication.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, one of the most critical skills is problem solving. And of course, within the scouting movement, you have to do a lot of problem solving. If you are sitting outside and you don't have any fire, you have to then problem solve and find a way to make a fire. And those are real skills that people use in their everyday lives and within business. You did mention earlier that you don't know a lot about the Girl Scouts movement because you've pretty much been focused on the Boy Scouts. But wouldn't one think that these skills are important for the Girl Scouts movement too? CPR, first aid, I mean, all those things are critical for both genders.
Sure, they're absolutely critical for both genders. And what we're talking about here is opportunities. And if with regard to the Girl Scouts, we really have no comment about that. We understand it's a wonderful program. The Boy Scouts has welcomed in now many other entities. And they used to have discrimination based on the color of your skin and who you loved, and so these things they've had integration, and the next step is really to allowing girls. These are valuable skills that are universal, and the Boy Scouts with continually down now is an opportunity to increase membership, so it would help the Boy Scouts, and increase opportunities for young women that want a different program. They want a co-ed program, and they want to join what is well recognized within the international community and have that opportunity to earn the Eagle rank. The Eagle rank is many of almost all of our early astronauts that went to the moon and walked on the moon were scouts, and many of them were Eagle Scouts. Many of our captains of industry are Eagle Scouts. And girls want that opportunity, and this would affect millions of young women that would have the opportunity to learn the hard skills and also the leadership in a co-ed environment that is so important, that is not going to be they're not going to be marginalized, and it's going to be a merit-based. The Boy Scouts, one of their tenets is that it's a meritocracy. Well, then it should allow in girls, just as it's now allowed in other young people. It's time.
Okay. Well, I mean, just before I make a comment on that, I can see that we've got Janet from Illinois, and we have Govinder and his daughter from Nepal, all the way, I think it's near Kathmandu. So, and we've got a couple of viewers who are also live watching as well. So welcome to all of you. And we will give you guys a chance to ask some questions, because I know that Govinder's daughter is always looking for wonderful role models to ask questions to. You mentioned that the scouting movement, in a very diplomatic way, have allowed other people in.
Yeah.
So let's tackle that specifically. So they have a charter, and it's been around since 1908. Is that correct?
1916.
1916.
Before women were.
1916.
Yes.
And if I'm not correct, wasn't yesterday Baden-Powell's birthday?
It was very
Or
recent.
today?
It's right around now. I'm not sure. You know better
I'm
than
sure
I
it's
do.
either today or tomorrow. In fact, I think it was it could have been yesterday
Spent a lot of
because,
time in South Africa.
well, I mean, did he have a connection to South Africa?
Yes, he was stationed there for a long time. That's where he came up with the idea for scouting. So the scouting movement has a lot of its origins in South Africa. So you should be very proud.
I didn't know that. I am very proud that I'm learning new things all the time. So now, you mentioned that obviously they had a charter.
Yeah.
When you start a movement, you create a charter and you say, we would like to achieve the following goals. These are the people we would like to let in. And they said, we would just like to let in boys, no girls. And for a while, it tended to stick around. But then some people said, you know, my gay son was kicked out of his scout troop, and we feel that that is inappropriate because he's still a boy.
Mhm.
Right.
And then, of course, the charter said, well, you know, I mean, did they actually specifically state no gay people are allowed in the scouting movement? Or was it an underwritten rule? I mean, why would they have to fight for something that wasn't even in the charter in the first place?
It's interesting you say that. The bylaws, which came after the charter, shortly after, also include a provision for allowing in young women. And actually, in the Boy Scouts, there's a group called the Venture Crew that starts at about age 14 that is co-ed. So for the Boy Scouts to say that it's a boys program is really not the full story. The full story is they're a co-ed program that really only allows boys into their elite program, which would be the Boy Scouts, and then the Honor Society, which is the Order of the Arrow. But with many, many more women running scouting organizations, they want their daughters to be allowed in. Many of these daughters have seen their brothers and their siblings go into the program, and understandably, they want to be included, and there is absolutely nothing to prevent them other than, you know, and that's why we're asking our viewers here to reach out to the board, and specifically Randall Stevenson, who's the AT&T chair, and also the Boy Scout president, and say, what do you like best about scouting? What do you think you like best about scouting? Most people say camping and hiking and ice climbing and scuba diving, all those things. And then why should young women be allowed into the organization, as they are throughout every other country? Almost every other country is co-ed. So the charter, which was created originally for boys before women could vote in the United States, was supplemented by the bylaws, which allows them to come in. So
when did that change?
If you look at, you know, I've looked at the bylaws. I'm probably one of the few, but if you look at page 17, it allows in girls as long as they want them in. So and
that hasn't changed at all since inception.
I don't know when the bylaws were added. I didn't see the date, but it's after the original charter. They created these bylaws which supplement the charter, and they can allow in girls. It would not be a big change. In fact, as I said, they already allow them. It's a co-ed program. Other than these,
I was going to say,
this is not.
So then, what's the issue?
Can you give?
What is the issue?
Please give Mr. Stevenson a call and ask him what is the issue. Please allow in our daughters.
So now, how many Sydney Islands are there that are eager to attain the level that you want to reach?
Millions.
There are a lot of girls who want to become fully part of the Boy Scout program. And I've talked to many people across the country and around the world that in the country, I talked to a bunch of girls in California.
The Unicorns, they're a famous group that tried to start a program within the Boy Scouts.
Yes. And so it's pretty much worldwide. People want girls to be allowed into the Boy Scouts in the United States.
And with the
so you've obviously got international support, but within America, how many people are we talking? I mean, if it's let's say 1,000 girls that want to become Girl Scouts and attain the level of Eagle Scout, or are we talking 50,000? I mean, have you done some sort of indication of how many people would like to join?
We have a petition.
Yeah, we have a petition that has well over 6,000 signatures, and yeah.
And they have the comments section it's a change.org petition that says "Scouting Let Me In," if somebody wants to look it up. I'm going to put all the links with the YouTube thing as well. The comments are really compelling, and you know, it says, "I'm a Scout leader. I grew up I'm an Eagle Scout, and I want to share this important experience with my daughter and allow her to gain the same knowledge and leadership skills that I did as a kid." And it's sad to keep them out. And that's the same way I feel about my daughter. My son is an Eagle Scout, and I want to share the same experiences with my daughter. And I don't think we should have to go to either South Africa or Canada to have this experience.
But now, this is the part that confuses me. If the charter states one thing, and then the bylaws support co-ed scouting, and the rest of the world are already doing scouting that is co-ed, they don't have the tags for Boy and Girl Scouts, they just call themselves the Scouts. What is going on that America is so behind the times?
Well, I'm not sure, but I think their reasoning behind it is that since they created a program called Venturing, which ultimately starts at age 14, so it's already behind when the Boy Scouts starts around age 12.
And the Cub Scouts at age 5.
They think that that having the Venturing program is enough, and also Venturing does not have the Eagle rank, but they just think like that since the program is similar to the Boy Scouts, that's enough. They can say that they let in girls, but really they haven't let in girls at all, because they don't allow them into their main program, which is the Boy Scouts and does have the Eagle rank and many different ranks which are recognized internationally.
The Eagle rank gets you into colleges and gets you, you know, it's one of the few things you're going to put on your resume from high school that would help you get a job.
Does it make that much of a difference?
Absolutely. There are companies that look for Eagle Scouts.
Wow. So by not having the Eagle Scout on your resume, that already puts you at a slight disadvantage, especially if you feel you can attain it.
Right. I think if you look at the presidents of Boy Scouts, probably Randall Stevenson and Robert Gates before him, if you look at their resumes or their LinkedIn profiles, I bet it says Eagle Scout on it.
Wow. Now that is, I always find that very interesting.
On their resume.
Sure. So now, okay, so are you going to be the first woman Eagle Scout in America?
I hope to be definitely an Eagle Scout in America, and I also hope that a wide scope of girls join the program because it's an amazing program, and I hope to be one of many Eagle Scouts in the near future.
I mean, being a scout means sometimes venturing into new territory, finding your way when you get lost. I mean, setting a precedent by becoming the first woman Eagle Scout would look really good on your resume, but obviously would certainly open doors for many young women within the scouting movement.
Yes, and
but now, of course.
Oh, and that's what I'm really trying to do. I'm not just trying to do this for myself because I want to be part of it. I know that so many other girls want to be part of it, and I just want to help break the barriers and let in girls, because I know that everybody will benefit from girls being part of this program.
So when you think of the Boy Scouts movement, you don't think of it as Boy Scouts. You're just thinking of it as a program that is in existence with a name that doesn't really apply, but the content is of great value to you and other people, and you feel that content should be available to all, and maybe the name is just about semantics, because apparently the bylaw states that anyone can join anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and they have programs that are for girls that are co-ed, and so why are they limiting what are considered their most well-known programs just to boys? And this would, we're asking welcoming troops to be allowed to bring in girls, welcoming Paxton troops to bring in girls, and it will help swell their ranks for the numbers, and also we have the international community has never been more competitive, the economic community, and we need to be competitive, just like every other country needs to be competitive. In order to compete, we need the best training available, and from what we've heard, Scout training is always at the top for what is called the best leadership training for our youth, and we want to just help get all of our youth that training.
And the Boy Scouts,
yeah,
the Boy Scouts also isn't the training and everything that goes along with it isn't specified to boys. Like, everybody needs this type of training, and a lot of people want to be part of this program. So making the Boy Scouts just boys limits girls from learning all of these skills, because they're not gender-specific skills that the Boy Scouts might think they are.
Of course. Well, the minute you start stereotyping genders by saying that these skills are for the Boy Scouts because boys are, for example, maybe a little bit more assertive, and that's why they need these skills, you are then obviously discriminating against girls by not allowing them to have access to those skills. So that becomes quite obvious.
Absolutely. And those troops that still want to remain single gender, that still want to remain segregated, could do so. They could remain still all male. So we're not asking if they have some sort of religious belief or some other belief that they feel they need to remain single gender, they could do that.
So what you're proposing is that the Boy Scouts movement enable some of the troops to be co-ed and allow them to access all the same things that everyone else has achieved, and that's it.
Yes.
Right.
That doesn't sound like a big ask.
No,
but we need the international community to put pressure on the Scouts, and we're gonna propose some, that we reach out to Randall Stevenson, who's a terrific leader. He's the head of he's the CEO of AT&T, and he's the president of the Boy Scouts, and we're asking Scouts and non-Scouts to send up a video. Why do you think scouting is so important? What is the best thing about scouting? And then say, why should girls be included? And we'll give you links on the change.org petition on how to do that. And we hope that people around the world will send up videos as to why this is so important. And particularly as the United States is going to be hosting the International Jamboree in 2019. Are girls going to be allowed, girls from co-ed troops around the world going to be allowed to participate? Or are they just going to preclude and discriminate against our own girls in the United States?
Now, just all these very, very cool ideas are rushing through my head. I'm picturing Sydney and a whole bunch of girls arriving at the Jamboree and doing an impromptu speech in front of everyone, talking about the need for change. And I see people marching to this could definitely happen. But now, what would happen if a Scouts troop allowed Sydney to complete all the tasks and actually gave her the badge? Would you be in trouble?
We are open to invitations.
Yeah.
So, but would you get into trouble for doing that?
Well, I wouldn't be recognized by the National Boy Scouts because I have with a troop in New York City that my brother's part of, I have unofficially been awarded different badges, but the National Boy Scouts doesn't recognize that.
But if you show them the badges, maybe they might. No, it doesn't work that way. But now, who certifies
we should have you reaching out to them.
Yeah, well, we will, and we're going to be talking about ways that we're going to have a what we call peaceful protest in terms of getting this going. I think this is fantastic. But now, if you've got those badges, then obviously they were not just given to you; you earned them. So, who was the judge to make sure that you achieved them legitimately?
Counselors.
Yeah, there are different counselors for different badges, and I went through them and earned the badges the same way that all of the other boys did.
Okay, and then obviously they said to you, well done, you've accomplished it, but I'm sorry, you don't get the t-shirt because, wrong gender. So what would happen, because you see now we've got a complication. We have not only seen a change in attitudes towards gay teens, but also you mentioned that only a couple of weeks ago, the scouting movement has now allowed transgender teens into the movement.
Yes, they have just recently allowed transgender boys into the program. So I think that's their way of slowly opening up the doors to everybody, slowly but surely. And hopefully very soon girls will be allowed as one of their many steps to opening up to everybody.
And we're hoping that happens immediately. As I said, we'll start a troop this week that's co-ed. I make that pledge to the Boy Scout leadership, and we're really looking forward to getting this moving. Not only for Sydney, who's approaching her 16th birthday and needs to start on getting her path to Eagle, but so many other thousands and probably tens of thousands or maybe even millions of girls that want to get in this program and need this program. Our country needs girls that are Scout trained.
But now South Africa and Canada are co-ed. Does that mean you could do the Eagle Scout in South Africa or in Canada?
Well, in Canada, I have been awarded the highest award in the Scout program, which is the Chief Scout Award. And what did you have to do to get that? I had to do pretty much the same things that I would have to do in the US, except in Canada. So that means I had to do a swimming badge. I had to go camping a certain amount of times, hiking, communications. So pretty much the same things that the Boy Scouts would have me do.
Interestingly, one of the they're called challenge badges, and one of the challenge badges is you can pick one that is not kind of on the menu, and we picked women's advocacy, and that's what brings us to right here.
Do they see the irony in that? I'm just wondering. So what I like is that obviously you're able to achieve these things, but I want to quantify, because you tell me, look, to get the badge, you've got to go camping a couple of times, you've got to get a swimming badge. Does that mean you jump off a 3-meter board into the pool and you scream a lot? And I mean, how much swimming are they expecting you to do?
Well, I'll take that because it's, I work with the Boy Scouts, and it's significant. These are skills that you have mastered during this period of time. And some of them are, which are safety issues, are more, or have more emphasis, because you want to make sure that a kid can swim, that a kid can, that a scout is able to do emergency preparedness. All of these skills build a better adult moving forward. And really the most important thing that I see with the Scouts, and when I see real maturity, both in Canada and in the United States, is when the Scouts reach back to their younger Scouts and help them at their own expense. They could be working on their own merit badges, but they reach back and help another young man or young woman to attain something, and you see the joy in the face of the young scout in when they've attained something, and that is the real reward for scouting. So it teaches real community building and helping for other people. It's so important.
Oh, look, I'm a big fan of camping in particular. You know, I did summer camps in the USA for quite a while, and obviously youth movement camps here in South Africa. So I see informal education is far more memorable than what you learn in the classroom. When you have, for example, a teacher teaching you about certain things, you switch off when you go home because you leave your school knowledge at school and you go home and enjoy your normal life. And when you go back to school, you switch on again. But when you're in a camping environment, you tend to remember everything. So all the lessons I ever learned at camping are always stuck in here. And I run an NGO, a non-governmental organization, based on all the principles that I learned being a counselor and teaching other adults leadership skills and how to manage kids in an environment, and the best way to tell a story or to play a game and when to cut it at a high. Those are all important skills that you learn within informal environments like the scouting movement. But I sort of go back to that one issue because I don't think you answered my question. When you say you have to achieve a certain badge and someone says, we have to do some swimming, how much swimming are we talking? I mean, are we talking 5 lengths? Are we talking 20 lengths, 10 kilometers, miles? I mean, do they quantify what it is that you have to achieve?
For each one of these badges, for example, I'm qualified in law, okay, and there's a packet of information that each student, each scout has to complete, and there's a checklist. So there's not a real gray area. So you're asking me specifically about scouting, and the answer is probably my son would know because he's a scout instructor. He's a swimming instructor. I don't have it off the top of my head, but particularly with the safety issues, you want to make sure that the scout masters, for instance, swimming or emergency preparedness. So they're going to be a swimmer, but they're already going to be a swimmer because there's 2 other occasions at least that they need to have some proficiency in swimming in order to get a rank advancement. So it's not that this is just sprung on them that they have to learn how to swim in order to gain the merit badge, which is an Eagle rank requirement. They're going to have certain swimming proficiency throughout the program, and that's why this is so important. So if you have a young scout who's not a very strong swimmer, they have an opportunity to learn these skills throughout the program. And I certainly wasn't trying to be evasive. I want to.
No. So what I can understand, it's about proficiency and not professional distance, long distance swimming, that type of thing.
Right.
We're
not trying to create an Olympic swimmer. We're trying to create a swimmer that's going to save his life and hopefully with safety issues, save the lives of other people around him or her.
Or her, absolutely.
Right. So that's why this is so important, because these are skills that help the wider community. And also, scouts are you see them at the pillars of the community. They're always reaching out to other people. I see it all the time, and that's one of the most rewarding parts of my job, is when I see scouts out there volunteering in various community services that aren't scout related, that I'll see them volunteering or leading in a soup kitchen or helping somebody who's running for office. These are all really important things to our community and the communities throughout the world. And all of our kids deserve this training, and we want girls in the United States to be included as well.
Is the membership of the scouting movement dwindling at the moment?
In the United States, yes. Or it may be leveled off right now. I don't know where it is exactly right now, but overall, in the last decades, it has shrunk. And one of the reasons it may be shrinking is because they've had these problems with keeping people out. This is a wonderful organization that would only get better, as Sydney said, by allowing girls in.
Okay. Now, I saw that Janet in Illinois had a question, and let me just read it. It says here, do you feel that perhaps not wanting women to become leaders in business and industry may be behind some of the refusal of not necessarily the scouting movement, but in organizations in general? And I know that it's a loaded question because obviously there's no specific answer, but maybe what Janet is alluding to is that, you know, in the early stages, maybe that was what was going on. But you've said that, you know, people of color, people with different sexual identities, of different people who choose different partners, I mean, they're now all being allowed within the movement. Do you think that maybe before they weren't allowed in the movement, there was this underlying ethos that might have been carried through, and it's still kind of a little bit there, and now it's time to start chipping away at that attitude?
I think that it might have been something that they thought of, but I definitely do not think that that is a good like reason at all to not letting girls, because we like people should want girls to become leaders because there aren't enough girl leaders. And I think that it's so important for girls to have the same opportunity to experience what boys are already automatically allowed to experience.
As an employment lawyer, I'm in New York, and I'm an employment lawyer, and I'm always looking for, part of my job is to address discrimination in the workplace. And I am always looking for opportunities to include everyone with regard to race, sexual orientation, gender.
Disability, everything.
Yeah, disability. The more people we can include, the more ideas we have, the more powerful our organizations are going to be, whether they be companies or the Boy Scouts of America.
But then, of course, the Boy Scouts might say, but then, you know, we have single gendered or single sex high schools. We have girls' high schools, boys' high schools. We have NFL. We have NBA. We have so many things where it's one gender. And why should we now allow women onto, let's say, the men's basketball team when there is already a women's basketball team?
Well,
I do think there are many problems with society and what like different people think that like girls and boys should be doing. But I think that that's pretty much, if the Boy Scouts said that, that would pretty much be an excuse, and saying like, I don't think that would be like a good reason to not allowing girls.
Particularly when they already do.
Just because other programs do it doesn't mean that they have to do it. And I'm not saying that everything else is perfect, but this is the issue that I want to focus on, and a lot of different other girls want to focus on as well. So I'm not saying that other programs shouldn't change, but I'm saying that this program definitely should change. And this is what I want to focus on.
But now, of course, if we know that the bylaw allows girls to join in, then it really is a matter of discretion at the moment. I mean, it's not a case of, well, listen, our charter states no girls. We've never had girls. We never intend to. I mean, if they've already made that allowance in their bylaw, then I think it's a non-issue.
It should be a non-issue at this point. And let's say the charter even did say, you know, or the bylaws did say that they couldn't include girls. Well, first of all, they already do include girls in the venture program, and they could change the bylaws. You know, they can do whatever they want. Organizations change all the time. You know, women weren't allowed to vote in 1916. They can vote now. They can run for president. You know, so the society as a whole is always evolving, and let's hope that the Boy Scouts evolve very quickly.
Well, I mean, I do think that from a future point of view, if the scouting movement decided to just become one body and consolidate all the activities, you might get some girls saying, we don't want boys doing what we're doing. So then you might have a reverse situation. The other Sydneys, but not Sydney as in girl's name, but Sydney as in boy's name, going, we don't want to be a part of their movement. And now we want to leave because we think that the scouting movement that we belong to offers better programs. And by bringing in some of their programs, they might be different or unappealing.
Well, we're not advocating for taking away anything that the boys already do. We're just advocating for girls to be led into what they already do. And a lot of the boys that are in the Boy Scout program know what a great program it is and know what great training they're getting. And if they say like girls shouldn't get that training, I haven't heard that from a Boy Scout that I've talked to, that girls shouldn't be allowed because they know how amazing a program they're doing.
Yeah, but they would never say that to you because you know how to do knots. And you don't mess with anyone who knows how to do knots and then can hide away. And
many of the best comments on the change.org petition are from Eagle Scouts that say, this is ridiculous. We have to let in girls. That will make our program stronger. Take a look at the change.org petition. It's,
we're going to, and that's what I want to talk about next.
Sure.
Tell us about this change.org petition that you've got going.
So we started it a couple of years ago to kind of get the ball rolling and let more people know about this issue and allow people to voice their opinion on this issue. And so, yeah, it has over 6,000 signatures. And yeah, it's on change.org. If you look up Scouting Let Me In, it will show up.
Okay, we will put all the links on our website and with the YouTube video as well. And what are you hoping to, what is the next step for you in terms of your vision in reaching or attaining your goal of allowing Sydney to be the first woman Eagle Scout?
Well, it's interesting you say that, and we're starting it right now, today. And we're asking the viewers today to go on and video themselves saying, as I said before, what is the favorite thing that they have done in scouting, or the most important thing in scouting, or the most important thing in scouting that they believe is occurring, and then why girls should be allowed in. We're going to ask them to send that to the AT&T CEO, who's also the Boy Scout president, Randall Stevenson, and hopefully we'll get a response from Mr. Stevenson. We did an interview back with ABC, which is a big network in New York, and the Boy Scouts said that they would speak to us. We've emailed them repeatedly and not gotten any response. So we're hoping we can have a conversation with them about, and Sydney can talk about how important it is for girls to come in as full members of an organization. It's great that they have the venturing program, but to come in as a marginalized member of a group, and the venture program is fantastic, but you have to also be able to earn the Eagle rank and get those rank advancements, and be responsible for the advancement of other young scouts. So that we want to have that conversation with the Boy Scouts, and we're ready to have that conversation now.
Okay, so now let's pretend I'm the Boy Scouts movement and I look at my options. One, I could just say, well, if you want to form a co-ed chapter, we're fine with it. Two, why don't we add the Eagle Scouts to the venture program and everyone will be happy?
Well, if they added the Eagle rank and other ranks to the venturing program and like made the ages the same, then it would be the same program. So, I mean, I guess they can do that, but I think that if they said allowing a co-ed troop to be part of the Boy Scout program, that would be what we would most like, because it would most likely be the easiest thing to do, just let in girls to a specific program, and that'll be a catalyst to make other Boy Scout troops in the country co-ed as well.
Okay, well, I know we've got a couple of visitors. We had Govinder in Nepal. Hopefully he's joined us again with his daughter. Govinder, if you or your daughter would like to ask a question, okay. You want to go ahead?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Swachanika from Nepal.
Hi. Nice to see you.
Welcome.
When did you start scouting? I mean, at what age, and what differences have you experienced joining the Girl Scout?
So I started scouting at age 4 as a Cub Scout, which is the younger version of the Boy Scout program. But I wasn't officially allowed to be part of the program because I'm a girl. And I've experienced going camping, hiking, and I've also unofficially earned many badges. But the Boy Scouts do not let me in because I'm a girl.
So have you faced any discrimination apart from this whole technical thing? Have you personally faced discrimination from people because you want to join the Boy Scouts?
Sometimes some people on different videos comment discriminatory things on the videos, but directly to my face, I don't think anybody has directly said, well, the Boy Scouts shouldn't let you in because you're a girl, because they don't have any reasons that they can tell me to my face that would like be an actual reason to not letting girls.
Of course, but you know not, and they're not going to mess with that. Let me tell you. And you can dispose a body and they'll never fight. I'm just kidding, just kidding. So now, Tony, are you with any of your students over there? Do you want to ask any questions? I'm not sure if Tony will let us know if she can hear us. And then, of course, Mr. McNulty, you there with the class. Do any of your students want to ask any questions?
Yes, we're having some technical difficulties, but I do have a student here who'd like to ask a question. Go ahead.
Okay, we can't see your webcam, but I assume that's the technical difficulty you're having.
Exactly. But you can hear us.
Okay, we can hear you clearly, sure.
Introduce yourself and go ahead.
I'm Alexa. I was just wondering, have you ever been a Girl Scout, or what is like the reason that you'd prefer Boy Scouts? Wondering.
I haven't been part of the Girl Scout program, but with the Boy Scouts, I have done many different things with them. Yeah, so I haven't been part of the Girl Scouts, but I know that they're two different programs and they don't do the same exact things. So I want to be part of a program like the Boy Scouts.
So obviously you enjoy what the Boy Scouts are offering, but you can't really comment on what the Girl Scouts are doing because you don't really know. And maybe, but now Tony has got a question. She says, my question is very similar. Why not try to get the Girl Scouts to be better? And that was something that we discussed a little bit earlier. Why not try to get the Girl Scouts to be better and make it harder? Are the Girl Scouts, is that seen as a softer option? Is that what the story is? I mean,
no, I think that, no, the Girl Scouts are just a different program. And I'm not trying to say that the Girl Scouts aren't a great program. They are for some people. But for me, I want to be part of the Boy Scouts, and it's really about choice. And girls should have the choice to join any program.
there we go. I like that. Sure. Mr. McNulty, do you have any more questions from your class? I'm sure we've got some future leaders in that group that would love to.
I hope that these students will participate and go on Facebook and create a short video and send it to the Boy Scouts of America leadership.
Are there any scouts in that classroom?
Some Girl Scouts.
We've got some Girl Scouts. So who are the Girl Scouts?
The two ladies here.
Bring them up. Bring them up. Tell them not to be shy. We want to chat to them.
You're not shy, are you? Come on up.
Come on up. It's just us and the rest of the world. Don't worry.
Come on over. It's just,
Come on over. Come on over. What are your names?
Forever. Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourselves. This is Alexa. She just asked a question a little while
Oh,
ago.
hello, Alexa. We didn't see what you looked like before. And who's next to Alexa?
I'm Emma.
Hello, Emma. So Emma and Alexa, you guys are part of the Girl Scout movement. What do you love about the Girl Scout movement?
I like that it focuses on helping other people. I guess.
Okay.
And I like cookies, so.
And you obviously helping other people is great, but the Boy Scout movement does that too. So what do you think makes the Girl Scout movement so fantastic?
I've never I don't really know about a lot of what the Boy Scouts do, so I can't really compare them.
Do you have a goal to reach the highest level of the Girl Scout movement?
Well, with Girl Scouts, you advance as you get older, and I mean, my goal is to get a gold award, which is the highest award you can get in Girl Scouting, but moving up groups is just by your age.
Do you think it's unfair that you can't get the Eagle Award?
No.
You don't think it's unfair. So Alexa, she doesn't feel that it's unfair, but do you have friends that might feel that they want to achieve that particular award and it's not fair that they are excluded?
Well, I personally don't mind not being able to be in Boy Scouts, but I do think that if somebody wanted to, or if a Boy Scout wanted to, or if a boy wanted to be in Girl Scouts, that I do agree that it's it should be okay. But I don't feel the need to earn in the highest award in Boy Scouts because my goal is the gold award right now, or the silver award.
Okay. So your personal goals are not to achieve it, but in principle, you feel that the Boy Scouts should not discriminate against people who do want to do it.
Yes, and the Girl Scouts the same.
And you, Emma, do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree.
Awesome, awesome. You said it very succinctly. I could see that you were a woman of many words. It was very supportive. But now, what is your favorite activity to do as a scout? I mean, if there were any activities that you love the most, I know that Sydney loves camping, and she's cool with the whole use leaves instead of toilet paper. She's pretty cool with that. That doesn't scare her at all. Just avoid the poison ivy, and that's one of the scouting badges, learning to tell the difference between various plants. Do you guys enjoy that aspect of the scouting?
I do.
Yeah, I like camping too.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your honesty. We appreciate that. So now going back to Sydney, what sort of message do you want to send to young girls out there that are looking up to you as their role model? Because, you know, we've also interviewed another friend of mine. Her name is astronaut Abby. And Abby has decided that she's going to be the first woman person as well on Mars. She's not an astronaut, but she is planning to be. And she feels the only way to do that is to take every single possible thing that you need to become an astronaut and put them in your path so that all the rocks line up. So when you jump across, you have a greater chance or probability of being chosen. And I mean, she does, during the summers, she goes and does summer camps for astronauts and learns Russian, because you're going to have to go to Russia if you're going to be doing a launch there. And, you know, she really is taking it quite seriously. So what are the steps that you're taking besides a petition and your Facebook campaign? I mean, are you ready to stand for president of the country?
Well, I might want to be president, but what I'm really trying to tell girls is that whatever they want to do, and thank you so much, Alexa and Emma, for speaking about the Girl Scouts, and that's what I'm advocating for. I'm advocating for, if anybody wants to, whatever anybody wants to do, they should be allowed to do it, and that's what they were saying, if I heard them correctly. They might not want to do what I want to do, but anybody should be allowed to be part of the Boy Scouts or become the first person on Mars. I think that's amazing. So whatever anybody wants to do, they should have the opportunity to do it and not be discriminated against because of their gender or their sexual orientation or anything.
Okay, I mean, I do want to give a shout out to my next door neighbor, Clive, because Clive's daughter, Emma, she is a scout, and he actually takes the troop. Is that what you call them? You know, you get a swarm of jellyfish, a herd of elephants, and a troop of scouts, apparently. And he works with them on the weekends, and they go for hikes and all that sort of thing. And I've promised him that one session I'll come in and run some activities with them. But, you know, when he wanted to know, you know, what are the specific requirements to become the Eagle Scout? I mean, this is the pinnacle of the scouting movement. I've personally believe that once you've got it, you're not going to stop there. So because why stop when you've achieved that goal and you know you can achieve more? Why stop there? But of course, if that is their ceiling, then are you going to be creating new ceilings and new challenges?
Yeah, well, the Boy Scouts, my brother is an Eagle Scout, and he is now 18. So he already received Eagle Scout, and he, the day after he turned 18, he was with the Scouts at his troop, the local troop that he was part of, and he was teaching them skills as well. So just continuing with the program and leaving, not just leaving the program after you're finished with it, but giving back to it as well.
How old is the oldest Scout?
You age out at 18, so that's why the day after my son.
Age discrimination.
Well, no, then you get the opportunity to be an adult leader. The day after my son turned 18, he was then an assistant scoutmaster. He renewed his application and reapplied as a scout leader.
And the youngest age?
5. They just lowered the age
5.
from 6 to 5, and there's tremendous opportunity. So, that's why young women, young girls, need to have the opportunity to start not at age 14, but at age 5, when everybody starts, so that they can have the opportunity to learn leadership skills for life.
So now, Sydney, what do you do in your spare time when you are not tying people up in knots and making fires?
Well, I do debate. Over the weekend, I went to.
You were recently at one yesterday. How did that go?
It was very good. I made it to octafinals. So I was in the top 16 teams with my partner out of over 200 teams. And so that was really exciting. And
do they ever give you a topic like, okay, right, Sydney, here is your topic. You are arguing for discrimination within public organizations. And then you sit there going, oh, yes, we don't even have to prepare for this. This is such a shoo-in. Does it ever happen?
That specifically does not happen, but I think good. That would bring more attention to the.
But no, what would happen if they gave you the opposite side? Then, of course, you have to learn how to argue against the valid points that you are raising.
Yeah, and I think that's an important skill as well, to see both sides. It would definitely be extremely hard to argue that side, but that's pretty much in any debate. We have to argue both sides, so we have to see both sides, and I think that's important as well.
That is awesome. So you are a debater,
yes.
You are a camper, you are a scout. Anything else that we should know about you?
I also do dance, and yeah.
Are you a good dancer? Are you like me, a break dancer? You break everything in the room? No, not like that.
Well, I do dance at school, and I did it outside of school as well. So yeah, I really like to dance as well.
So you're quite serious about it. So I mean, you're a very active person. Dad, what do you have to say about all of this? I mean, I get a sense that you are her greatest advocate, and I get a sense that she's while she's fighting for herself, I almost see a little bit of you standing next to her going, we're in this together. Am I correct in assessing this?
We are definitely partners in this, and the whole family is. My wife Nancy and my son Brian have all been supportive. We have a new addition to the family. We have a little puppy, a female puppy named Scout, and hopefully,
Uh-huh.
so we have
Will
been.
Scout be discriminated against if Scout wants to do the Eagle Award?
Well, let's hope not. But no, this has been really a joy that Sydney is taking this up for both herself, but for so many others. You know, this is an opportunity that is really obvious. You know, they had to let in homosexual boys. They had to let in adults that are based on their merit, not on who they love. And the same way, they have to let in young women if they want to grow as an organization and remain relevant. I'm a Scout leader. I've taught adult Scout leadership training, and I've taught the National Youth Leadership Training. I've been on staff there. And I know the value of Scouting and the importance of learning rank advancement and reaching out to other Scouts and helping them learn the valuable skills in the program. And there is no legitimate reason to keep any group out, particularly young.
I couldn't agree more. I think that the fact that you know, the charter might say one thing, but actually the bylaws already allow for you to start a co-ed chapter, and the rest of the world is doing it. They've already set precedents with regards to this. I think it really is just a matter of time. So it's not a case of if it will happen, it's a case of when. And we're going to be paying very close attention to this whole campaign, because I think that it's wonderful that you are this trailblazer, this pioneer in getting it overturned. And I'm hoping that it's going to happen sooner than later, because we would love to then interview you after you've achieved your Eagle Scout, so you could tell us all about it, how you had to tie 4 knots, and 2 of them were some of the previous Scout members. And then, of course, you had to swim, and that was to also because you were keeping them under. I'm just joking. You were not keeping anyone underwater. So I think that, you know, this whole campaign has obviously achieved a certain level of international recognition. Are you getting many press requests? Are you getting a lot of people who are recognizing you in the streets because they now know that you are the one that was on Facebook and the Huffington Post and all those other things? Are you finding that your profile is growing a little bit?
People haven't been recognizing me on the street, but definitely I've had many interviews, and it's been really great to get the word out and talk to a lot of different people with different opinions. It's been very great.
That is awesome. Well, I'd like to thank you very, very much for taking the time to speak to us, to explain because you see, when you read one report, it doesn't always tell you the other things that are going on. It gives you a bit of a one-sided view of they either for or against. And I think it was nice to get some balance from you, and also to understand, you know, where you are actually at and where the process is at. So we'd like to thank you formally. We were wishing you all the best of luck. I know that Tony says that she wishes you good luck, and Govinda and Mr. McNulty, his group had to leave, unfortunately. And we've had a couple of viewers who've been watching it live as well, and many who are going to be watching this afterwards. So all I'm going to ask you to do is to kind of come a little bit closer to the camera and smile, so I can get a nice screenshot. Let's have a look. Yeah, they are smiling and looking at the camera. There we go. We'll take another one just in case. And got it without blinking. Perfect. And I'm going to stop the broadcast over here. Thank you. Thank you.